G'day, I'm Lockie from Miners Den Bendigo, and tonight's quick tip on the Minelab show, going to talk about a nifty little feature on the Equinox 800, the horseshoe button. The first thing that we have to ask ourselves, what does the horseshoe button do, or what does it represent? If I push the horseshoe button here on the screen, I'll start to see some segments around where my numbers are displayed. They will light back up. Now it basically puts your Equinox 800 into an all metal mode, so it's capable of finding your iron targets. Now, some of you may be asking, why would I want to find iron targets or junk targets? Well, if I get an iffy signal that starts to jump around on the scale, or it's cutting in and out with its volume, I want to push the horseshoe button to get a good, accurate representation of if it is a ferrous target. Now, some large ferrous targets, what they can actually do is come up as non-ferrous. The detector's working on a conductivity, so if something's really big, like a half a bucket or an old-timer's bucket, the detector sees it as a non-ferrous material and it'll start to give you a non-ferrous tone. If that bucket's broken up all around and there's some bits that start to confuse the machine, what I can do is push the horseshoe button and I'll get a much better idea of that target. Is it going to predominantly go to the ferrous side or the non-ferrous side? And I'll be able to distinguish which one I want to dig. So let me break down a bit more simply of what I just said previously. I have a chisel here which is clearly a ferrous target. I'm going to put it on the ground and I'm going to put the Equinox coil over it and see what it does. So now that I've put the chisel on the ground, what I'm going to do is go over the target. Now I've got my horseshoe button off at the moment, which means I should, in theory, only get non-ferrous targets. So let's go over this big chisel and see what happens. And I'm getting a very mixed signal. It's a bit scratchy. It's starting to give me positive numbers, which represents non-ferrous, but it's also cutting out as well. What I'm going to do now is push my horseshoe button on, which will enable the detector to find ferrous items or give me a signal for ferrous items. A little quick note is, what we're looking for when gold prospecting is non-ferrous. Ferrous items are magnetic or iron, non-ferrous are not, like gold. So I'm just going to go over here and I'll start to hear that I'll get a much clearer response of what the target is. It's giving me a solid -3 to 4, which means a ferrous item. Well, there you go, guys. There's a really quick, simple way to decipher between those really scratchy, funny targets when you're out looking for gold with the Equinox, as well as your Koina Relic, of course. I'm Lockie from Miners Den Bendigo, and that's been tonight's quick tip on the Minelab show.